Welcome to WiscoDice. Hey, this is episode 36 support video for the Not Bleeding Yet episode. So in this first slide, you see the Earthblood mirror that was completed. Here is as far as we got on that 2-tower inn that you'll see later in the video. Here are the pillars that Dustin was working on. Next, you see another shot of the tiller plus that ziggurat that Dustin worked on. Here is the volcano piece that Dustin worked on, as well as a sample of the walls. And finally, the Dark Elf Tower that Brian took on. Going into the first chunk of the video, we're actually watching me just get started kind of base planning and working out some pieces of scrap blue foam insulation from other projects we kind of had carved up and cut up around the basement. Getting kind of the shape, defining the area of the marsh itself. These ridges were a little bit too tall. I think I cut them at about somewhere between 1/4 and 3/8 of an inch. So some of it here, you can watch me, I'm actually trimming off some of the fatted chunk of this so that the levels are a little bit more flat. One of the problems when you're dealing with water features is, in reality, water features generally are lower than the earth around them. Obviously, if it were higher, the water would flow out. So you've got to come up with a method to kind of make it look visually so that there's something holding the water in. And so I build up a little bit of using these scraps of blue foam to kind of build up and add chunks around the particular structure or piece so that I can see exactly what's going on, and everybody can see as well that this is where it is. So here I'm just kind of sizing up these chunks. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 36. Episode 36 was another one of our terrain episodes. We really do like to focus on those projects for terrain. I think that's what makes Warhammer really exceptional is not only having the painted models, but also the visuals of the game and the battles that we're playing. Okay, as I continue to kind of glue things down, you'd ask what kind of glue I'm using there. That's actually in the picture. It's an Eileen's tacky glue. It's very similar to Elmer's, except that it's tackier. So when you glue something, it'll actually hold it down in place. And I'm not sure what generic product name that might be called, or what that product might be called in other countries. But that's where you can find it at pretty much any craft store or market. Okay, that little piece of foam I put in the center is going to end up being like a little island for this piece, as you kind of could see from the finished product. And now I'm just kind of finishing up the outer edges. There's only a couple more chunks to glue here. Very careful measurements there, very cautious. Of course, you always want to be careful with your tools, your hobby knives and whatnot. In particular here, this kind of scalpel-like foam knife that I'm using needs to be really, anytime you're working with foam, you want the blades to be as sharp as possible, which also means you want to be careful because it doesn't take much but an accident, and whoop, you've got a cut and you're bleeding. So always take care, very extreme care when you're cutting with your knives. All right, just making sure everything's kind of tucked up where I want it. Now at this point, this project's going to have to set up and dry so that everything's held in place. Okay, we're here at Conesy's Terrain Day. We've got Dustin, you've heard on the show a couple times before. Woo! All right, Dustin, what are you working on over there?
I am in the process of building a volcano for the Chaos Dwarf table.
Okay, what exactly are you doing right now on that volcano?
So, right now I have the base built up and building the sides of the crater, trying to figure out ideal positioning and whether I want just a bubbling caldera in the middle or a broken crater with some lava flow oozing down the sides. So, kind of halfway between initial production and concepting.
And that looks like it's going to be a fairly large piece, so it's going to be kind of maybe one of the signature pieces that's on the table then?
That seems likely. I'm hoping we can cook up some special rules for exploding volcanoes, but we'll see what happens.
Well, that'll have to be play tested, but yeah, it looks like it's starting to shape up nicely. Very good. Whoa, that doesn't look like what you were working on before.
No, I have been struck by the bug of needing more stalls. So now we're putting together some pillars for the Chaos Dwarf table. And like any good Warhammer terrain, there are skulls, lots and lots of skulls.
And those are Herstart skulls. They were cast out of plaster, like a dental plaster, by a good friend of mine, Matt. Then let me have all of his old cast Herstart blocks, so that was awesome. So lots and lots of skulls. There's going to be 4 pillars. Those are going to be giant, impassable pieces of terrain on this table. And then you did looks like you got finished up building the base of the volcano then as well, right?
Yep, it's coming along, drying nicely. Gonna get some sand on there and then get it painted up.
So you got a lava reservoir, looks like a couple of bubbles in there, you can kind of see those. And looks like another lava spewing pipe or something here.
Yep, little secondary lava bubble there.
So that'll go well on like the corner of a table, I think.
That's the plan.
Nice. Alright, sounds good.
Okay, so we've got the beginnings of some kind of roadside inn is what the idea of this building, concept of this building is going to be. So it'll be a 2-floor building with a cool little fireplace on the base. It's got a bunch of Herstart blocks just kind of making the shape of the base, but it's going to be a foam core built structure for the rest of it pretty much. Although I think I'm going to use Herstart's blocks roof. So here we can start seeing where I'm cutting the foam core for the walls. Back there is this really cool door that I'm going to use for Herstart's blocks that I cast. Okay, so let's see what Stark Raving Mad's got going on here, Brian. That's finished?
Yep.
That's your story, you're sticking to it?
Yep.
So what are you working on?
I'm gonna attempt a Dark Elf Tower, being that I know a lot about Dark Elf. Being that I play them all the time.
play against them?
Rarely. Get my butt whooped. But it's gonna be some kind of hexagonal shaped tower and kind of have a pear shaped. I'm gonna hack out of these foam blocks that just stuck together, which aren't dry, as you can see.
As we've just demonstrated?
Yep. And that's as far as I got so far, so we'll see how it ends up.
Okay, well that sounds good.
Yeah.
Alright, so what are you working on, Dustin?
I am cutting out the outline for a Chaos Dwarf tower. I'm gonna do something a little experimental and try and do it ziggurat style. It may turn out well. If it doesn't, I'll go with something a little more traditional. We'll see.
So that's 2-inch foam, your blue insulation foam you've got there, and you've drawn out a basic pattern on it.
Yep, cutting out, I have a 6-inch block over there, then a 5-inch, a 4-inch, and a 3-inch, and each will sit on top of the other.
It's going to be really, and that's all going to be, okay, and those are all going to, each 2-inch section is going to sit on top of each other?
Yep.
Okay. Ryan, what do you got going over there? You got some stuff?
Impressive now.
Yeah, it looks like that's a lot better than the last time we looked at it.
Yeah, it's the basic shape of it. I gotta wait for the blue to set, otherwise it just keeps moving. on me, so I can't really get the lines really well defined. And the platform I got going here actually goes on that level.
Nice,
And
nice.
Soon to be coming spikes is where I'll be at next.
That actually looks kind of cool and impressive.
Hopefully. That or I'll just have to smash it to bits when I don't like it.
I actually, I'm liking the feel of that. It's actually starting to come together.
It's gonna be pretty cool.
It's gonna be a major project. It's gonna take some time, but looks like it's
I hope
been
I can get the bare bones of it done. Our
get
session today, but
it roughed out.
paint and stuff will probably be quite a bit later. So the next thing, I just got the foam core spikes and stuff to work out next.
Sorry, Timber.
But I'm digging it.
Excellent. All right, over here we've got the in-house roadhouse kind of thing that I've been working on as kind of a secondary project for today, and that is starting to actually shape up with, it's just a basic foam core structure with some HerStarts blocks. All right, so anyways, moving on, we've got some significant progress on the Earthblood mirror that I was putting together, so you can see that I've kind of sanded off and kind of made all of the edges with the foam and the wall filler so they're smoothed out, and then I went ahead and filled the inner part with sand. I've also glued a tree into this, and you can see where I've actually done on the, so you can actually see on the tree where I've done some putty work to kind of fill some of the knobs because it's the cheap Woodland Scenics tree kits. And I added this little piece over here, which is again right off of a HerStarts, I think, dungeon kit. So really cool, really coming along. I'm really starting to like it, getting a good feel for that. So yeah, next step will be, once this dries, just to kind of get it painted up, and then we'll be ready to pour resin. Holy cow, what do we got going on over here now?
We have the start of some obstacles. These are going to be blazing barricades. They look like innocuous brick walls right now, but with the application of some bright glowing paint, they will have some magma flowing through them, which should be pretty spiffy if these toothpicks ever decide to stand upright. And of course they're nice and short because they're going to be manned by Chaos Dwarves.
And then are we going to put any kind of basing underneath them?
I think that would be in order.
I think that would help them stand out a little bit more.
It would be cool to find a lot of part of the base and
Yeah.
And then we've got some other structure over there that's going on. It's got a door and some piles of square foam.
Yes, the dwarf tower has taken shape since we last took a look at it. Seems to have gone up pretty well, and it needs some detailing yet, but it's coming along.
Nice.
We got a polish. No, just kidding.
There's some serious work going on over here. Looks like you're working with some foam core.
Attempting to, that's the hard part.
First time you've worked with a wonderful product known as foam core?
Yeah, and trying to cut intricate spikes out of it is a pain in the butt and hasn't worked out so good so far, but hopefully I can recover it into something useful.
So the idea here, folks, if you're not sure, we'll reveal the detailed plans.
I got one section cut out too, and they kind of fit around the edges like so.
No, you also got to think that
the foam core is
going to be a little bit that level's going to be down there. Yep. So
eventually it might look like something.
Nice, and then of course, like we talked about before, we'll use some kind of wall filler product to kind of make that all look a little more flush than to be able to see where you can see where the different 2-inch sections of foam was. That kind of.
I think once I sand it out, it'll be pretty good that way. But there are big chunks missing out of random parts, unfortunately, like right there. Those will definitely need to be filled in.
All right, well, Terrain Day has went along pretty good at a pretty good clip. We've got a lot of projects that have been started or getting close to a good clip on start. Now, we'll get over to the foam core building I've been working on. We've got a roof now that's started on it, as well as here on the back side of the building, I finally got that all put together so that it's glued in place. I'm waiting for some glue to set up. I'm also going to have to come back, since I was kind of a genius here and didn't dawn on me until after I started gluing it together, but I've got to cut in the window ports on this side of the building as well.
Without destroying.
Yeah, I think once the glue sets up, it'll be fine. We won't have to worry about that. It'll be solid enough with the four walls kind of supporting it and a good sharp knife.
Sound like famous last words.
It's more of the, what are the odds I'm going to be able to get a good sharp knife by the time I go around doing that?
We can fill the broken heap that is your house afterwards.
Folks, I have done that before, so I do know what I'm doing. I will be able to manage to not destroy my building. This building, talking about it, it's also going to be a dual-purpose building for not only Warhammer, but also we'll be able to use it in our bolt-action games. It should not look too far out of period for both systems, so that's kind of the goal. Alright.
My glue even seems still turning wet for good.
Yeah, it'll probably be till tomorrow before that white glue is set up.
I'm just pushing that in, it's like mushing out.
And this is how you smooth out your walls on your building.
Improves your lungs.
Yeah, we do recommend that you have a mask when you're doing this, unlike us who are amateurs at this kind of stuff and didn't have the equipment on hand that we needed. And then here, you can start to see the foam core house and how that stucco looks. That's just this lightweight wall spackling right here has been spread on these walls to give it kind of a textured look. We'll go in with some balsa wood to kind of frame up the house a little bit now on the outsides. And then we've got these pieces here, which are Herstart's shingles that are cast up for us, and we'll do shingles on the roof, which will go right there. Okay, Stucco house. You can see I got the Herstart shingles on the roof done, as well as the chimney, and I'm starting to get the boards actually on it to make it a timber and stucco, or whatever you call that. I think it's starting to come together. I think the back, we're going to put some more cross beams on the verticals in the back. And I ran out of 1/4 inch to be able to cut the size, so that side's not quite finished. And again, the front will get verticals like the back to kind of match. But there she goes. That's almost ready for paint.